Ladies and gentlemen, Picklover here, and I just wanted to let you guys know that this is going to be my second video for today, or whatever day that you're going to be watching this video. But basically on Twitter, I mentioned that I was going to do a review of Breath of the Wild and the Nintendo Switch itself, but because there's so many reviews of both those things, I feel like it's been done, and instead I just wanted to make a video sharing my experience getting the midnight release of the Nintendo Switch and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, before I go on, long story short, I really love the Nintendo Switch and I love Breath of the Wild. Both are great. It's both a great game and a great system. System doesn't have a lot of features as of now, but I honestly didn't care because I've been enjoying Breath of the Wild pretty much during these past 5 days. It's that much fun, guys. I think right now I could probably say I'm about a little over or a little between 30 to 40 hours within the game, so it's really that much fun. So without further ado, I just wanted to start out with what happened on Thursday. So last Thursday was basically the day of the midnight release of the Nintendo Switch and Breath of the Wild and whatever. So I called GameStop to make sure that they were doing the midnight release. I called the GameStop that was like literally right next to the mall, and I asked them if they were doing any retail units for the Nintendo Switch. And they did confirm that they had like 10 units available, and it's mostly going to be for people that did pre-order the system or are just going there for the retail units. So I was thinking to myself, okay, great, so I can definitely try to reserve myself a unit once I get there. And they told me to get there at least before 6 o'clock so that I could get my hands on the retail unit of the Switch. And of course, since I had a lot of time on my hands, I decided to get some errands done first. I had to get a new router because it's been very crappy lately. It's been disconnecting a lot, so I had to get a new router. And that was pretty much it. So around 5 o'clock came by, and there was the Barnes & Nobles right next to the GameStop that was doing the midnight release. So I kind of wanted to go to the Barnes & Nobles just to check out their manga and their books. And as soon as I went to the parking lot, I saw like 2 or 11 guys, like not 2, like 10 or 11 guys, literally just huddled like right next to a corner of the GameStop. Some of them had lawn chairs, some of them had backpacks on. And I was thinking to myself, oh crap, am I too late? So, and then as soon as I went inside the Barnes & Nobles, I was thinking to myself, okay, these guys are probably just here for their pre-order copies or their pre-order units of the Switch. So I went inside Barnes & Nobles and I just looked around, just wanted to read some books, but the more I was reading books, the more I kept thinking, what if they're here for the retail units? And I was thinking to myself, no, they cannot be. How can they know? Because I'm pretty sure they're just waiting out there because they probably got bored inside and just wanted to huddle outside. So I went to the GameStop, and then 6 o'clock came by, and then the manager basically confirmed that those guys that were waiting outside the store were actually waiting for the retail units. And I was thinking to myself, how the heck did they get the memo? Like how the fuck did they get the memo to get the retail units of the Switch? So, and I also was notified that those guys were actually literally camped outside of that GameStop the day prior just so they could get their hands on the retail units. It was absolutely ridiculous. So then I thought to myself, oh well, I'll just come back for the midnight release just to get my copy of Breath of the Wild. And I assumed that the mall's GameStop was going to come over and do the midnight release as well. So as soon as I left the store, there was a guy there, and he told me that Walmart down the street was going to get 20 additional units for retail. And I was thinking to myself, oh cool, thanks for the info, sir. So I drove down to the Walmart, and I wanted to go to the electronics store or the electronics department to ask them if they were doing the Switch midnight release. And they did, and they were doing it, but they weren't taking like pre-orders for the retail units. But they did tell me to come back at midnight. So at this point, I thought to myself, okay, I'll just get the Switch from Walmart, and then I'll get the copy of my game from GameStop. So I went back home and I just watched some anime. I drew a little, tried to catch up with commissions, and then then I was playing Twilight Princess and playing Minecraft, and I was just counting the hours until 11 o'clock came by because I wanted to be there at Walmart by 11. So then near 11 came by, and then I drove back to the Walmart, and then I immediately rushed inside to get to the electronics department. And before I knew it, there was like a group of people like literally waiting in front of the cash register at the electronics department. Some of them were cosplaying as Link from Zelda and all that. And of course, some of the guys look kind of greasy and kind of unkempt in a way. So I was thinking to myself, okay, they probably still have some units left, so I'll be able to like reserve one. So as soon as I went near the group, the lady saw me and she asked me if I'm here for a retail unit. And I asked her yes, and she unfortunately told me that they actually sold out all the retail units. So then I was a little disheartened, so went back to my car, and I decided to go back to the GameStop. Sorry for rambling. Went back to the GameStop, and then I went inside, and the place was literally like packed. There was like a lot of people waiting inside there. They were there getting their copy of the game, and of course getting the Nintendo Switch as well. I got so overwhelmed in there because I don't do well with like large crowds and tight places. So I decided I'll just pick up the game in the morning. You know, no harm done. I'll just pick up the Switch in the morning because I know there's a store. There's a store that I shop at a lot, and they were getting they were having retail units as well, but they were doing it right at the morning that they opened, which is like 10 o'clock. So then I decided to go home. I decided to go home and just call it a night, and next thing you knew, I looked to my left, and the shopping center had a Best Buy, and the Best Buy was still open, and there was like a lot of cars parked in front of the store. So I went to the Best Buy, and then I parked in there, and then I was like, huh. And I was thinking to myself, there's no way that they're going to have retail units because Best Buy is like a huge electronics chain, and there's probably going to be a lot of people inside there. So I went inside, and then I was greeted by by one of the workers there, and he asked me if I pre-ordered the Switch, and I told him no, I didn't. And then he asked me, "Oh, are you here to pick up a unit in store?" And I told him, "Yeah." And then he handed me a piece of paper, and the piece of paper had a ticket number on it. And I was thinking to myself, "Holy crap! Am I actually getting the unit tonight?" So I went to the line, and the line wasn't really that big. It was like probably like 30, like I would probably say like around 50 people. So I waited, so I was like the last person in line, and then more people came in. Waited behind me, and I decided to whip out my phone, and I was kind of tweeting stuff out, and then I actually wrote a tweet saying like getting the Nintendo Switch is like getting Turbo Man from that movie Jingle All the Way. Anyways, so I was listening to music, and then I was like just anticipating getting the Switch as soon as the line got smaller and smaller, and then next thing you knew, I was next in line. And then the guy called me over, and then I just handed him my piece of paper, and then he took out a box. He took out a Nintendo Switch box and just put it in the shopping bag. I slid my card into the card reader. Next thing you knew, I was holding the Nintendo Switch in my hand, and I was like, yes, yes. And then I was like, oh crap, I still need to get a game. So I decided to go to the GameStop again, and it was like near 1 o'clock in the morning. So I went back to the GameStop, and it was like completely empty. It was like empty in the parking lot, but there were still workers inside, and the store was still open. So I went inside, and then they said, "Oh, hey, you came here early to ask for the Switch. Do you still want to get one?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me? They still had a Switch, even after all those people came inside the store, they still had one." But I was like, actually, no, I'm just here to pick up the game. I was able to pick up the Nintendo Switch from Best Buy. So I showed them the receipt of my pre-order for Breath of the Wild, and the guy was punching in his computer, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to get it because I technically pre-ordered from the mall, and the mall's GameStop didn't do the midnight release, so I was kind of out of luck there. But they did tell me that I could just buy the game tonight and then just get a refund the next morning, and I did just that. And as soon as I went home, I hooked that sucker up to my TV, and next thing you knew, I was playing Breath of the Wild on the Nintendo Switch, and I was just amazed with how gorgeous this game is. It's just amazing. I had so much fun playing it that I didn't stop playing until like 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I just continued playing the next morning, and that's all I gotta say, guys. So that was my experience with Breath of the Wild. Again, love the system, love the game. It was an awesome night. It from what seemed like a large journey just became a huge success in the end of the day. I had so much fun with the midnight release, and I hope you guys are enjoying the Nintendo Switch. And as always, guys, if you like this video, please leave a like and leave a comment, and also please watch my other videos. I am now doing narratives, so let me know how I do on my narratives, guys. But in the meantime, guys, enjoy yourselves and just stay awesome.